AITA for telling my 16-year-old niece she is wrong to bully or pressure people into doing what she thinks is best. My brother has 2 children. Tommy and Nova. Tommy and Nova are half-siblings. My brother was married to Tommy's mom and they divorced when Tommy was 2. My brother met his second wife when Tommy was 7. Right before he was set to introduce Tommy and his second wife, girlfriend at the time, Tommy's mom died. They planned to wait several months before she was introduced, but then she became pregnant with Nova, so that had to be speeded along. They got married 2 days before Nova was born. Nova has been told a lot about Tommy's mom and what happened to her. She is also aware of how old Tommy was when her mom came into his life. For many years she has held the belief that Tommy is wrong for calling her mom by her first name and not accepting her as his mom. Tommy calls his stepmom by her name and says she's his stepmom. He also says he only has one mom. Nova for years has been correcting Tommy or calling him out for years over this. She says he should be more grateful and treat her mom like his mom. That her mom has been way better to him than his mom ever was, and he should be glad her mom wanted to be his mom. In the last year she has ruined many family moments because she brings it up. My brother and Sil say nothing. They claim they correct her at home and have had many talks with her, but she's young and defensive of her mom, so doesn't get it. She was staying with me last weekend while her parents were out of town and she was on her phone a lot and scowling. I asked her what she was doing and she said she was telling Tommy he was being shitty and should accept her mom is his mom too after all these years. She said he was mad at her for saying it and was being a little dick about it. I read some of the messages and decided enough was enough. I told her to put down the phone and I told her she was not helping anyone. I said she has no right to bully her brother or harass him to do what she wants him to do. I told her she is wrong for doing those things. I pointed out to her that she is destroying her relationship with her brother and is doing more harm than good. She tried to argue, but I made sure she heard it all first. I told her how she treats her brother is horrible. That yes, while she might hate to admit it, she is bullying him because she is constantly calling him names and rubbing his mom's death in his face. I told her she would hate him for doing it if she were in his shoes. I told her she is old enough to mind her own business and accept that her brother treats her mom with respect, but he never has to see her as a mom. Her first response was it is her business because her parents will never tell him. Then she said I'm being odd because it's not bullying to call people out for being shitty and she's trying to help her family. When she went back home, my brother said I shouldn't have said anything to Nova. AITA. Comment. Her parents have claimed to talk to her. Yeah, I bet. Her parents agree with her and are letting her do the dirty work. And at 16 she's old enough to know better. Have you talked to Tommy about this? I'd be pretty fed up and wanting to cut off my family if I were him. Be there for Tommy. He doesn't seem to have a lot of support. When Tommy goes NC with your brother and his family, you will be able to explain why. But don't expect them to change or think they did anything wrong. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the simple fact that she can defend her mom but he can't defend his mom, especially since she's dead. And HTF would this little twerp know her mom treats him better than his mom did? She wasn't even alive while his mom was. Good thing this isn't my niece because I wouldn't be in contact with her. She's old enough to understand the difference between bullying and defense, and she is downright bullying. I disagree. A 16-year-old should have learned some empathy. Tommy lost his mother at age 7. He knew his mother. He never needed a replacement. I am not up or Tommy. What I am is empathetic. I cannot imagine Tommy's sense of loss, his pain, his grief. I can imagine that he loves his father's second wife, but she will never be his mother. A 16-year-old should know better. We have it from up that the parent never corrected the daughter, and in that manner encouraged this behavior. Willful ignorance. I'm just gonna put this out there. Some people, despite absolutely horrid and/or horrendous upbringings, are the most caring, giving, and selfless people on the planet. This is by their own choice. She's 16. She's choosing to be a bully. Her reasons may, in her mind, be the best of the best. But as the old saying goes, the road to the abyss is paved with good intentions. Downvote away. My definition of a disagreement is someone telling me they dislike the color dress I am wearing, the football team I cheer for is horrible, or the guy I voted for is a jerk. Imo when a non-adult half-sibling for years tells a sibling 8 years her senior that he's wrong because he won't call her mother mom, etc. That is more than a disagreement. That is blatant disrespect. When the parents of the half-sibling apparently support this activity because they can't make her stop, aka refuse to stop the disrespect, they might as well be spouting the same hurtful rhetoric. The 24-year-old adult is entitled to his view/opinion that he had one mother and she is dead. As noted, he has been respectful to the stepmother but calls her by her name. His father, stepmother, and minor age half-sister are welcome to disagree. They can continue to allow the minor child to spout her opinion and call him out every time he doesn't call the stepmother his mom. He can then end the harassment by ceasing to communicate with the half-sister. That would also entail low or no contact with the stepmother and his father, who be unhappy he cut off communication with their child. She is 16, not 10. This is absolutely childish and immature behavior for someone her age. Also, if I were her parents, I would be really worried about her lack of empathy and how hateful she can be, just because she wants someone to do something she believes is the only way. Especially when that belief is completely wrong, and fully discards the person's own personal experiences. And if this is how she treats her own brother in regards to the death of his mother, how does she treat other people when they don't agree with her? Next story 2. AITA for refusing to take my daughter during my ex-husband's week with her so he can go on holiday. Okay, some context. My ex-husband and I get along well for the most part. We co-parent our 9-year-old daughter on a mostly 50-50th basis, with me having her for a few extra days a month due to his fly-in/fly-out schedule for work. The only areas we butt heads with are his lack of communication and nutrition when it comes to our daughter. The nutrition thing is a pain to deal with, but ultimately not the issue at hand here. Since we've been divorced, about 5 years now, he has consistently forgotten to communicate when he needs me to take her early for him, or on days when it would typically be his week with her. I've raised my concerns with him each time and asked him to give me more than a day or two notice when he needs me to take her, but he has failed to do so each time. Because I obviously want my daughter with me as much as possible, I always take her anyway and reschedule any plans I may have made for myself that conflict. Recently, he and I were talking on the phone and he says to me, "You know you're taking her for 3 weeks as of tomorrow, right?" I did not. He mentioned that he was thinking about taking holidays in September way back in April, did not say when in September, and never brought it up again. I had appointments booked for my week without her and an overnight trip planned. Out of frustration with him and his pattern of disrespect for me and my time, I refused to take her. My thoughts being, if I keep doing this for him, he will continue to forget and things will never change. I am a very passive person and he knows this. I decided to stand up for myself and not accept his walking all over me. He got extremely upset with me, and has demanded that he can not count on me for anything, and that he will no longer help me out when I need him to take her. Keep in mind, he has never taken her for me on his days off or helped out in that way whatsoever for me, so this really doesn't affect me in any way at all. He claims he cancelled his vacation and wasted $1,000 on it now because he has no child care for his week with her. I understand his frustration with cancelling his vacation. He on the other hand does not understand my frustrations with his lack of communication and has been cold with me since. AITA. Comment. My aunt and her ex-husband use it. She keeps all communication to that app. Her ex always tries to call her and she sends him to voicemail every time until he messages her on Wizard. He's gotten caught lying about shit through that app. I'm fascinated to know how the last part happened. What does it do that's above and beyond a shared calendar type deal? I've never been in this situation, so I'm curious. Our family Wizard was court order for my son's father and I'm so glad it was. Everything was time-stamped and in one place. Your lawyers can also get on it if you give them permission and the court can see it. The child, Ren, gets a free account. It's worth the expense. Better yet, speak to your custody lawyer. Some courts don't accept Google Documents, but there are co-parenting apps out there that they do accept, and they are easy to use. Better safe than sorry, because if he is doing this regularly then you should be getting more child support anyway. Do everything legally and get a co-parenting app. Yeah, I agree with the co-parenting apps. It's not as amicable as you think it is, and his negligence is not carelessness, but I think it's calculated as a means of control. He gets to say when you have freedom and he gets to have it when he wants because he knows you'll accept it. It's good you've taken the first step, and now he hopefully turns out to be decent as a parent if not a partner and doesn't take it out on her. Maybe family therapy could help? It sounds like you and ex generally have a good relationship. While his reaction is not your fault at all, from your post it's clear you know it's best for your daughter if you two get along. Maybe you just need a mediator for a conversation or two about communication to get on the same page. Sometimes what people need to cop on is a neutral third party telling them they're being unreasonable. You got a long ways to go with this guy. Presumably the kid has to go to school. So maybe the question is, why is he choosing to go on holiday and be away from his child? Op says she takes the kid whenever X asks because obviously I want to spend as much time with my kid as possible. Like Op, if I already only got to spend alternate weeks with my child, I would hold onto those weeks as tight as I could. There is no way I would ever give those weeks up unless it was an emergency.